So the men who claim the Earth is flat.
We didn't land on the moon, gravity doesn't exist, and the Earth is flat. Just a few of the extraordinary claims of the men and women who call themselves the Flat Earthers.
So what else do we believe that they say just isn't true? 3 people that would go to the end of the Earth, whatever shape it is, to prove their theory are Gary Heather, Darren Nesbitt, and Martin Kenny. And welcome, gentlemen. Nice to see you. Well, you know, there's lots to get through here. The Earth is flat. Why do you say that?
The evidence that we've seen doesn't.
So, you know, right there, this is you know, for me, where I would be correcting Philip Schofield and saying, you know, hang on a minute, Philip, you know, I'm addressing the claim, which is a globe, and I'm going to tell you that the globe's not real. Because what flat Earth do you have to represent? You don't have one.
Exactly. We're talking here about refuting claims, not about bringing other hypotheses or fantasies to the table here.
Suggests that what we've been told is true.
What evidence have you seen?
Well, I personally have been to Lake Balaton with FE Core, and we've actually done a laser test.
And again here, you know, I'm just going to keep piping in. I would be saying, well, you know, before I go to, you know, laser tests and all that shenanigans, I'd be saying, well, there's absolutely no measurable proof that the Earth's a sphere.
Absolutely. And there's actually no need to measure the levelness of water with a laser, since that would be the very definition of level using fluid mechanics. Yeah.
And people who say, well, you don't measure water to find it. Well, you know, every fucking instrument that you have, from a cup and a vase in your kitchen to a syringe, you know, they have markers on them to denote exactly how much liquid is going to be in it, because it's a fundamental fact of your existence that the liquids seek a level. So, you know, it's applied everywhere. You know, the water is the measuring tool.
Yep.
Test from one end of the lake to the, well, didn't do the full lake because it's massive, but we did a 12-kilometre test, and we could actually see the laser from one end to the other. And since then, the guys have actually produced a 40-kilometre laser test.
So this guy with a laser debunks all the pictures.
See, this is what I'm saying now. He's appealing to ridicule here now and absurdity, you know, suggesting that one guy with a laser is going to, and obviously he's going to say, debunk the whole of science and whatever else he's going to say.
Yeah.
You know, again, the communication's already breaking down. It's not allowing him to start his ridicule and his absurd nonsense because the conversation is a wee off on the wrong foot.
Yeah, and that's where it's you know, vastly important that people understand what these logical fallacies are, right? An appeal to authority is not destroying any argument. You know, we should be looking at the argument and the content of the argument, and he shouldn't be allowed to use those fallacies.
Exactly, and I think there's a psychological fallacy in itself here, just as you say, with authority, because, you know, for the majority of people, you know, I'm just generalising here, I know that I'm doing that, but going on to a mainstream TV, for me, there would be a psychological tendency to be bowing to the authority, to allow the TV presenters to somehow dictate the conversation. Whereas for me, I don't have any respect for these people. It means absolutely fuck all to me. Philip Schofield's just a man. You know, it's just a space and a room the same as anything else. He's not going to dictate to me how any conversation goes.
Absolutely. You know, I think that's where people still have reverence, right, for TV personalities or people that have more money, or, you know, whatever form of power that you think these people have, and it's nonsense. It's still two men who both have to sit down to take a shit, right? Exactly. So there shouldn't be any of that at all in the room to begin with. It's two normal sentient beings having a discussion. But he's already, you know, getting up on the high hill. Yeah.
Exactly.
Pictures, all that we've got live pictures now from the space station, which we'll come to in a moment, because you say that also, doesn't it?
You can clearly see the curve of
there's the curve. All of the things that we now are led to believe. One guy with a laser, and you say the Earth is flat.
No, it's not. That's the only thing. It's just an example of.
See, again, you know, Philip Schofield has invoked the we've got pictures and we've got images, you know, so then your rebuttal to him should be, well, would you accept an image or a video as measurable scientific proof of anything, especially when it's something you have no way of falsifying or verifying for yourself?
Exactly, and that's a perfectly valid refutation to give to his, appeal to imagery, and
Exactly.
that's where I think the conversation has to be pointed out to immediately, stopped, so that everybody gets back to a level playing field. But allowing it to continue, I don't think is a clever move.
No.
Some of the experiments.
So, Darren, you were sceptical at first, weren't you? So
I
you thought,
think it's right to be sceptical.
So again, just to point out, there's been no clarity had here. It's just left as two confusing opposers with conflicting views about nothing that's been resolved really, and now we're on to the next guy.
Yeah, I would even say that the guy who appealed to authority has probably won. For most people viewing this are going to retain that part rather than what the first guy tried to say. And I'm not saying that he's not being, truthful in his intention to try and, bring this to light, but I don't think he's won that part of the discussion, if you know what I mean. It's left, as you say, in confusion rather than anything else.
Because Philip Schofield's played the manipulative game, We have all these pictures and videos and one guy with a laser, so he's trying to ridicule it,
Yep.
About alternative views, but what we never are is sceptical about the mainstream view that we're told since we're children over and over again. It's programmed.
And again, there's no laying out here about it being a scientific discussion and the subdivisions of science. Again, the languages, as we've just highlighted, defining terminology and what we're actually engaging in here. Again, it's just left up there in the air. These underlying assumptions that there's this cartoon globe and this cartoon flat that each side is representing.
Yep.
so what finally convinced you then?
Well, it took me 6 months. I was sceptical for the first 6 months, and there are a couple of main things. One is water always finds level. So in our own experience in natural physics, you have a cup of tea or a swimming pool or a lake. Water is level, but we're led to believe that the Earth is supposed to be 70% water, so at some point water starts curving around a ball. Now, obviously, the answer to that is the magic of gravity.
Yeah.
Now, I believe gravity exists.
See, he's offering them a way out here, rather than just hammering that point home. Because regardless of the word gravity or anybody invoking the word gravity, the physical substance, as he's just pointed out, totally disproves the globe right there and then.
It's not capable of it. So, it's not capable of retaining that shape or form in any way. So how can, whether you discuss now whether gravity is a cause or an effect, is a completely different discussion. It's, again, for me, it's a misrepresentation of what the actual question should be. Yeah.
And again,
whether intentional or accidental,
And you're offering them, a leg, because at the end of the day, I've said so many times, why things fall or the way the things fall has got absolutely nothing to do with establishing the dimensions, the shape of the Earth. Absolutely nothing to do with it. So it shouldn't even be bringing it up. Don't invoke these words. Let them invoke them, and always maintain the strong position of letting them make the claims or the assumptions.
Yep.
Oh shit.
Like to be sceptical about alternative programs for the first 6 months. You have to be 70% water.
Yeah.
Now, I believe gravity exists, but only as an effect, not as a cause. So science itself has never proven gravity as a force itself. What is proven is 9.8 meters.
Right, so there you go. He is highlighting that. It's just that it's kind of jumbled up. Describing the way things fall is not establishing the cause, which is pretty much the reality of the situation we're in.
Yeah, good on him. Yeah, I just think you should bring it right up and hammer the point home. Yeah.
This 9.8 meters per second squared is the near constant rate of acceleration towards
What is happening here?
That's what I'm saying. We don't know, and science has never proven that as a force. Obviously, they have proven it.
And again, just be pointing out, Philip. Well, Philip, dropping inanimate objects doesn't provide measurement of the shape of the Earth. Simple as that. Stop acting like a moron.
Is observed science.
Sorry, mate. You going to say something?
I'm just going to say, unfortunately, that's the level of the conditioning that people have, though, isn't it?
It's part of the cult, the mantras that they've pushed out there. Oh, just ridicule, ridicule, ridicule. Look, jump off a bridge. Look, I'm dropping something. Gravity. These are just the mantras that have been pushed to the gullible masses that they regurgitate and repeat with conviction, although it's absolute fucking lunacy.
Yep, and I mean, we just highlighted it in the beginning of this hangout, Del. Gravity is the measure of an equipotential surface, right? And we've just talked about these different geometrical definitions. So you can already see that, he's taking the, how should I say, the common sense version of gravity, or what everybody believes is the common sense version to take, not understanding the underlying geometrical, mathematical trickery, let's just call it, for what it is, that's went into it, He's getting the dumbed down common man version of it and believing it wholeheartedly.
Exactly.
It's that things are accelerating the same rate, and that we're stuck to the ground. Nobody knows what is actually causing it, and scientists themselves will tell you.
Isaac Newton.
And Del, just one thing I want to pull up there. I know we sometimes hack away at the wee men like Philip, but I really do want to pull up the fucking scientists as well, because they really should know fucking better. What I'm doing, right, for my background expertise, dissecting the way mathematics is being misused, should be obvious to mathematicians and physicists and men of science and education and academia. So, I want to hammer this point home, that I find them even more responsible for the fucking mess we're in than guys like Philip, who maybe thinks he's just pulling down a job. Do you know what I mean?
They're just reading the video printer and being told what to say and how to respond anyway. So I don't even hold him accountable, really. Well, his ignorance has to be held accountable for that, because at the end of the day, he's contributing to infecting the masses with utter fucking jobby. Yep. So he has a responsibility, but at the same time, I don't think it lies solely at his feet. No.
Yes, I mean, why I'm pointing out the scientists is also, you can see the argument of this guy Darren, where he's saying scientists. So even on the flat earth side of the argument, people are relying on scientists, So we have to rely on scientists to get to the bottom of the bullshit and discern the truth properly. Because if everybody's relying on them, then they've got a fucking proper job to do, and that's find out the truth and tell it. Yeah,
but as I say, the individual still has a duty for themselves to understand things at a level where they can, place that onto these other people and still have the ability to discern and highlight where the deceptions may be coming, if any.
Absolutely. I agree. Right.
And now we're getting, Holly, who's just invoking another appeal to authority, this nonsense of, Isaac Newton, and so, a couple of men have just debunked Isaac Newton. Well, whatever, Holly,
Did he just get that completely wrong?
Well, I don't think he particularly got it wrong. I think we're told a lot of truths, but possibly not full truths.
But why? Why has somebody decided to make up a load of stuff? What would be the benefit of them doing that?
Well, it's difficult to say, because I don't know. I don't know why.
Here we go, jump into the motive again so quick, We haven't really fully analysed the crime scene yet, and taken in all the evidence, and we're often motive hunting.
Yeah, and it's a very simple rebuttal, just to keep it simple and to the point. Motive is secondary. That's doesn't negate from looking at the facts, as you say, the crime scene.
I do. What I do know is what I can test, what I can observe, and what I can come to using the resources that I have. So I know for a fact, after 2 years of research, that I'm not upside down ever. I'm not spinning. Water seeks to find its level, etc., etc. But I know that as a fact.
Isn't that like the childhood thing where you go to Australia? How come I'm still stuck to the earth? I'm standing on my head. I mean, how
absolutely. It is an
Exactly. That is childish, Philip, to have a belief like that. It's absolutely fucking absurd, mate.
Yeah.
So Philip's trying to use it like it's a childish way of looking at it, that you're upside down, but that's a fucking reality, Philip. Somebody 180 degrees from where I am right now is, from my point, upside down. Huge masses of objects and weight and all sorts clinging upside down from the point that I'm at.
Yep.
It's childish and stupidity.
Yeah, he's tried to turn it 180 degrees, isn't it? I mean, the reality is that we're being told childlike fairy tales
Yep.
And again, I pointed out what Gauss did, the differentiation between an extrinsic view, you know, like looking at the Earth as if you were God out in space and you could look down on it,
yep.
and this idea of that, you know, being on the surface and only being able to measure it. Yep. So, you know, that the childlike fantasy is what they're telling us, that we can stand upside down in a fucking ball. Yeah. And so the colored gentleman is absolutely correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is new clothes type of thing where we have stopped believing what we've been told is the model in our heads.
Yeah.
But what we have started doing is accepting what our own senses are telling us. And our own senses, the inner ear is very, very finely tuned, and we know that we are absolutely stationary.
What about someone like Brian Cox? Is Brian Cox a liar?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's only one straight answer to that, isn't there?
Exactly. About it, you know. If any of these dipshits are depicting the Earth to be something that's contrary to what we're actually experiencing, then of course they're fucking liars.
I mean, you'd never call somebody, you know, outright a liar. But is he mistaken? Absolutely. But are most of the world, or 99%, you know, of people mistaken? Yes.
This is what Brian Cox had to say about the flat Earth.
Put aside the fact that we've taken photographs of it, and you can see a horizon.
Like, put aside photographs. There's no photographs, dipshit, and you've never taken any fucking photographs. Right, so I put it aside and let's see what you've got to say.
Let's discount that evidence, Brian. Keep going.
Not only can you see the horizon, but you can see things move behind the horizon or in front of it on the height that you choose to look at the things.
And why is that, Brian? You're not going to get anything, you know, defining here. You're just going to leave assumptions hanging in the fucking ear, you know?
No discussion about vision or visual limits or atmospheric conditions or
the left to right missing curvature.
Yep, all these things are just going to be skipped over, Brian.
You see, I'm lost for words. It's probably the most nonsense.
So a wee second ago, you know, leaving the images aside, and he done that as if he was going to get into some extensive other proofs, and we get a wishy-washy, you know, something happening at the horizon, and now, you know, I'd imagine he's just going to go straight into fucking ridicule. You know, put the pictures aside, Brian. What else have you got, son? Fuck all.
Well, that's what I mean about a scientist. You know, this man should be ashamed to call himself such. You know.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a difference between scientists that are still caught up in mathematical sophistry and don't realize what they're doing, and this cocksucker, right, who's most definitely telling fucking fibs, because you can tell the way he's arguing, that he doesn't have anything else because he probably never studied it.
No.
Just a fucking actor.
Or he has studied it and he's just complicit and actively lying, as you say.
Sorry, it makes me angry, that one.
Yeah.
That a thinking human being could possibly make. It is drivel.
So
that's from a scientist.
So exactly, that's it. That's what we're getting. That's from a scientist. Well, Brian's a scientist of fucking stupidity then. You know?
Yep. Well, look, he's already done two things, right? He's broken down all communication, right? He's not wanting any dialogue or any discussion. That's said basically in his immediate thing, even though we've been asking him to come to the platform for 2 years. And secondly, he has brought absolutely no proof of nothing. He hasn't even brought a good argument, as you say. It's just been, he just lapsed into ridicule.
He's just used emotive expression to say it's just ridiculous and stupid or whatever the fuck he was saying.
Yep.
He was, and he said something very interesting there. He said it's nonsensical, and we say that's actually not true. What our own senses tell us is that the Earth is stationary.
But nobody's fallen off the edge of it.
Nobody has fallen off the edge.
Well, they heard that.
This is what I'm saying about this constant regurgitation of. This is why people, you know, you've got to look at it and say, are they really trying? Are they really trying to maintain the lie? Because they just keep repeating this same old fucking tired cack.
Well, they're not getting any better, so you wonder. You do wonder.
I would be making Holly uncomfortable there and just say, why would you, you know, invoke an edge? Where are you getting that for, Holly? And then watch her get into meltdown. Answer, you know?
Can I just respond to what Brian said there? He said
Where's
things
the space?
disappear behind the curve, and one of the main reasons why we believe that the Earth is a fixed stationary plane.
Yeah.
is
I need to just give what is it, Darren here, a wee bit of praise there, because that's exactly what should be happening continually. Don't let them wander away from points. Always bring them back and make sure you get your response across.
Yep. No, he's quite right. He did pull them back. Good on him.
because things aren't disappearing as quickly as they should be. We can see cities and mountains and islands 40, 60, 100 miles. The world photography distance record is 273 miles, right? And we can see the tips of the Pyrenees from the south of France, and you should be able to
can't see the base of
It's throwing in understanding linear perspective there. You know, artists and people involved in that line of work would hear that and quickly understand exactly what it was talking about, because they apply it every day. You know?
Yep.
Well, of course not.
because the
Of course
Earth
not.
is round.
Not because of the Earth is round, because of perspective, and because of the way light works, and because
So
of the way our eyes work.
we interviewed, I mean, one of the highlights of my career actually was interviewing Major Tim Peake.
A wee bit of emotional appeal here.
Yep.
Oh, one of the highlights of my career was interviewing Tim Peake, setting it up, you know, strongly that Tim Peake's a honest guy and he really is up to what they're professing they're up to, and she's committed and invested in that, and so should you be, because it's Holly Willoughby.
Yep. He must be telling the truth. He's been on TV with me.
Aye, and it's a highlight of my career.
Yeah. Here we go. We're going to have the next thing is going to be the usual. Are you calling him a liar?
Yeah.
Up in space on the International Space Station.
Right.
Now, he brought in his beautiful book. You see the curvature of the Earth. You very clearly see that.
Oh, fucking book, Holly. I've got a few books you can have a wee look at. And because it's in a book, that must mean it's real.
Hey, it's the Scottish national fucking animal, so don't let them tell me unicorns aren't real. Yeah.
Exactly. Got loads of pictures of unicorns, Holly. You believe they're real.
It's a circle. So are you telling me that this interview with him, I'm talking to somebody that's just made that up or wasn't actually there?
Yeah, he's not. Can I just?
He's not in outer space.
Can I just?
Where is he then?
Well, let's see. I'm hoping they're going to say, of course he's not in outer space, because let's listen to what they're telling us about what space actually is, and then apply that to physics and what our understanding of how the objective reality actually works. And if somebody's telling us that we are adjacent to a vacuous, empty space, and we are in a pressurized environment with no solid separation between the two, then yes, they're fucking lying, Holly.
Absolutely. Let's have the argument as to why space even exists. How do we come about that assumption? Is it just because we want to have an extrinsic view and be able to look down on a big ball?
Yeah.
Is that what it's all about? The mathematical definition visualized?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
In a Hollywood studio type
Not necessarily
environment.
Hollywood.
Maybe here, maybe where we are now. But
See, that for me is weak, as I say, you know, rather than just saying, oh, well, they're doing it in a Hollywood studio. You know, that doesn't really get right to the core of it. You know, again, getting back to the science aspect of it and how, you know, pressure systems actually work in reality is a much stronger position to put forward. Because then if people look at that, they're going to accept that. And then, of course, they're going to realise that what they're telling you about space and the physics, the properties of space are bullshit.
Exactly. You know, that's where I think, you know, well, we say it so often, Dale, that it has to be, you know, a scientific argument here, a natural scientific argument here, right? So if the argument just goes into a kind of conspiracy theorist that it's in a basement in Hollywood and, you know, I can't prove that and you can't prove that, you know, then it just kind of, you know, dilutes the more powerful argument that should be followed.
Right. I mean, as I say, just to go back to, well, let's address the claims of what space is and its relationship to us on Earth, and then let's look at physics to see the practicality of that, or whether it's got any merit, any possibility of being true. And if you do that, you will find that it's totally absurd.
Yep, and again, I can only say it's much better for people to look at those natural physics questions and study that, rather than running down a rabbit hole of trying to find out where they fucking filmed the Hollywood space missions. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, you know, people look at magicians and, oh, the magician's floating and levitating in the street. you know, you don't automatically assume because you see that that's what he's really up to. People are critical enough to realise that there's obviously a physical aspect behind it, or that it's deceiving. So it's the same thing that applies here. What does physics, the actual physical world, tell us about these things? Not just, you know, we'll throw out our understanding of the physical world because an image contradicts it, but the image must be favoured. That's just total lunacy.
Yep, absolutely. Spot on, man. We're in a contained system with level water. So how can anything else be, you know, even thought about? So any space theories of potato rocks and blue testicles are just nonsense to begin with. You know, there's no evidence for it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You cut through that, it then alleviates the problems, as you pointed out, of conspiracy theory. You know, you've got nothing to prove. You're saying it's a Hollywood basement, blah, blah, blah. Then you've got nothing there. You're on shaky ground, you know. Attack it from a different point of view.
Stick to natural science. Yeah.
Exactly.
But you're saying that Tim
Well,
Peake is allowed.
well, I mean, if you look at Tim Peake and people like Neil Armstrong and all the astronauts, they're all military guys. If you look at them, they're all military. They're not scientists.
No.
See, again, you know, we're leading the way into this, and you've now got Philip going, no, because it just becomes a matter of you against them with nothing substantial.
Yep.
You know, as we've just pointed out, you point out the scientific aspects, then that negates all this stuff, because of course they must be telling lies. They're representing reality in a way that is totally absurd to what we know to be true.
Yep, and I also think it's, again, not a clever argument or route to take, because it's polarizing military and scientists, you know. But if you look back at, you know, a lot of the scientific achievements, you know, they were military driven or naval or exploration, let's call it, rather than, you know, wars, right?
It's also suggesting that the majority of military personnel are complicit liars, when it's just not the case. So as you say, it is. It's putting a divide there that doesn't have to be there.
Yep, I think that's a mistake as well. Yep.
They're not. No, they're not. 230 individuals from the space station. They were not all military. Some were teachers.
Philip, I've got 230 pals that have been to the fifth dimension and seen unicorns and leprechauns and all sorts of fairies and monsters.
Well, there's 5 million Scotsmen that know unicorns are the Scottish national animal. So
I'm sure there's tens of thousands that would profess that the Loch Ness Monster is real. So get up there with your money in your pocket and donate it to the folks of the Scottish Islands to go and see fucking Nessie, you moron.
We've met some of the ordinary people. Are all 230?
Again, appealing. We've met them. If I've met them, that must mean what they're saying is true, because I've met them.
Yep. Again, appeal to popularity, popular opinion. Yeah.
It's emotional manipulation here.
Hey, can we just end this debate by saying,
no, wait.
Again, you know, I have to. This really, you know, grinds on me. This debate really pisses me off, because again, you're giving elevation to a false dichotomy here. There only is one reality. You don't fucking debate it, you know.
a beautiful globe over here.
For quite some time.
We've got a fantastic globe over here, right? I'm going to ask ISS, NASA, whatever, to zoom out of the Earth right now, and show us planes, right, from a distance. Let's say 233.
I'm going to have to disagree and stop this here. This is absurd now. You know, people, when they go in these avenues, you're opening yourself up to these dipshits. So this guy's now saying this, you know, oh, well, zoom in and show me. What if they fabricate something through, you know, video manipulation, whatever it is, and then show you that? Is that new? You now have to believe it's a globe just because they've adhered to your demands? No, they're not going to show us that, because what they're telling us about space is bullshit, as we've just established. So you can cut all this stuff off by just understanding how to cut through the bullshit, get right to the point. And then if they keep invoking these things, you just refer them back to what's just been established. Well, does it represent what we know and understand about the physical world? No. So I don't even need to go there. Don't be saying, zoom in and show me this and show me that. It's fucking crap.
Yep, fully agree. Yep, it's inconsequential, basically, you know.
Aye, it's the same as, you know, people arguing with me, we'll just use unicorns, and then I'm saying, well, if you want me to believe a unicorn, I want you to zoom in on it and video one and show me it. Well, no problem, I'll produce that for you, no fucking bother. So as soon as I've done that, you now have to concede that unicorns are real. Nah, bullshit.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if you've agreed on a point that, you know, and it's been rejected, then you can't keep coming back to it. That, as I say, is of no consequence. And at some point it just gets into all this, you know, because it's all half fantasy, you know, it's very difficult to find any real arguments. As I say, it's like arguing about, you know, how Scotty's warp drive works on the Enterprise, right? You know, what the fuck, you know?
Let's debate it.
Miles away, because we've got the technology.
Like that.
And let's show aeroplanes flying upside down underneath here. Let's zoom to show people walking upside down. Let's do it.
That's for me, that's just a funny, kind of entertaining point, you know, a bit of absurdity and ridicule in the globe. You know, when I say these things, I don't really mean it, because I'm not expecting or waiting or wanting them to provide that for me, because as we've established, they already know what they're telling me is bullshit, based on a fundamental understanding of the physical world and how things interact with each other. So, you know, that's good for a laugh sake, but I wouldn't be trying to use it as a valid point.
I'm in agreement with you. So I don't need it, knowing how water behaves. Exactly. And secondly, what he's really pointing out is there, I think, the more fundamental assumption that there is a space into which I can retreat to take a view of a spherical testicle in a vacuum. Yeah. And that's the assumption that we should be attacking.
Exactly, which is why I keep saying about the opposing pressure systems. Well, you know right from the off it's bullshit, because you know that's impossible.
That, and we will. I'll come back in. The space station can't zoom out to 230. It can't zoom out to beyond where.
Can we get a probe out? Can we get a probe out?
We've done that.
Of the whole Earth, and showing aeroplanes flying upside down underneath the globe. Can you see that?
Always see it's leaving it wishy-washy in the minds of people viewing this.
Yep. I mean, obviously, it's a difficult job with presenters that are, you know, reading off a script and corralling you through 40 minutes or 10 minutes. Sorry, it's not even time for a real discussion. But I'd still be, I think being more consequential would be more helpful.
You know, I totally understand that, in the position that people may be in, which again brings you back to the being committed and being fully aware of, you know, the tools you have and how you can proceed in an attack form. And if you do that right from the off, you're never going to allow them to get to these points, which is why it's hugely important that people get what we're saying.
Yeah, and you've said it as many times as well, Dale. You know, we're not saying that we're absolutely 100% correct, and I don't want to be seen as some kind of smart arse here, thinking that we could do a better job. But you know, I still think pointing out what the problems are and how to improve it is meant to be, you know, critically constructive rather than disruptive.
Exactly. It's not an attack on any of these individuals. It's certainly not to belittle them in any way, shape or form. This is why I'm saying about communication, the ability just to point things straight out. And if people are secure in themselves, then we can accept these things. And if they're determined about pushing forward and having progress, then all this stuff is important for it. And people can learn from these things and refine their own skill and the ability to talk about it. So it's certainly not a put down on any of these people. And as you says, Gav, it's not that we're sitting on a high horse thinking that we're something better. I can only represent me and how I would approach things, and that's all I can offer, you know?
Yep. And all I can say is don't let anybody represent you. Exactly. Neither me nor Dale nor the three guys in front of us. That's why I think it's so important that people are empowered to.
Yeah.
Oh, there are apps that can show you that.
What, airplanes flying upside down?
Right.
Wow.
Yes, there's a live positioning of all the airplanes on the world. They're on there.
What thought means is a wee digital device showing wee digital aeroplanes.
Yeah. Showing the latitude and longitude on a two-dimensional surface, and then the altitude of the aeroplane in a cylinder above that ground control tower. That's the way, you know, airplane navigation works. Control towers, right? Exactly. They basically work on that premise.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean anything just because an app can show blips on a fucking screen. I mean, for fuck's sake.
As I say, you know, NORAD can show you where Santa Claus is on Christmas Eve with the reindeer. You know, so.
Because
because the Hubble telescope is
The
very
positions of all unicorns in Scotland. Yeah.
Exactly.
I want an app for that.
At every given moment in time. Yeah.
Whether they're visible or invisible as well. They've got
We
fairy
have that. We already have it, mate. I'm sure there was the trend of Pokemon or something, you know, where people could go about with their wee devices and see non-entities in an area of their street or wherever they may be, and they can pick up rewards and stuff like that. So there you go.
Geocaching. Yeah, we should hide unicorns in Scotland.
That's it. You know?
Yeah, so what we're asking NASA to do here now on live television is turn that telescope round, zoom in on the Earth, right, and show us live pictures of people walking on the side, and underneath.
These pictures are live now.
You want them to zoom in
the
and
whole
see
Earth.
actual people.
You want to see the whole Earth.
Again, for me, it's funny for comedic value and a bit of ridicule to point out the absurdity, but to actually put it up there as a legitimate thing is asking for trouble, you know, and you're just confusing people with that.
Well, I mean, the problem is also the whole issue on perspective. So if you really were far enough away to take the whole of the Earth in one single view, you would not be able to discern the smaller things that are crawling around the surface, right? So it wouldn't even necessarily prove it. You know, I'm not sure you could actually see it. And, you know, as we know, the Hubble's not a way out there, you know, in space, because it doesn't fucking exist. Then the question is mute to begin with. Yeah?
That's it. That's the point.
Zoom in.
Actual people.
That's what military satellites do. They zoom in and target what we see.
Have you watched a science fiction film that looks quite real?
Science fiction.
Exactly.
Science fiction.
I'm going to lay down.
Mix it all up.
I'm going to lay down the gauntlet now. We had a debate at the weekend with three lovely physicists. Two of them are going to their PhD. One of them has got their PhD.
Yeah.
We are now laying down the gauntlet to Brian Cox. And I would love to have a few actors involved, like Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye. We love actors, so if they can come along as well, it'd be great. And we'll debate them. Absolutely. We'll get our team around the world. Some people would say around the globe, but that's just ridiculous. But around the world, and we'll actually debate them anywhere they choose. All we've got to do is ask you to help set up.
Can you ask them?
Well, we've been asking that for a long time, you know.
Absolutely, I'll come.
Well, that's it. I would like to be present with any of these things. I'm nominating myself to take part in any of these kinds of discussions. I certainly would never be classing it as a debate, you know, because again, it's fallacious from the off. There is no fucking debate. You either understand something about reality and can demonstrate it, or you don't.
Absolutely.
Me a question, because I have personally seen with my own eyes the curvature of the Earth.
Oh, that's the ultimate fallacy. Yeah. Are you calling me a fucking liar?
It's that. Paul's backing them up there, you know.
Is it the circle vision of your
It's not
sight?
either.
Is it the circle limit of your sight? Because obviously the
I
limit of our eyesight.
was very lucky.
I can guarantee you, Philip, you're not seeing bendy water, mate. I can guarantee you that, son. So your eyes are fucking mistaken.
And I went on Concorde. Okay. So I was very lucky I went to Concorde. So that's 60,000 feet. You could clearly see the curvature of the Earth.
shape of the windows?
Notice his expressions and how he puts emphasis on it. You know, that's part of the NLP tactics to try and get that into the minds of the people viewing. You know, to reaffirm it in their minds. You know, it's useless against people like us, Philip. Maybe the gullibles will work with, but it's not going to work with people like us, and people like us are going to continue to keep pushing forward. So I would quit it before you start looking like a deliberate asswipe. You know.
Good one, man. Yeah.
So
Philip, take heed.
No, I didn't say that. I said, what was the shape of the windows, was what I said.
Like an oval.
Scientists themselves
oval, right?
tell us that you have to be 50.
You can see the ridicule, the shock, horror, like disbelief that he's expressing here. His emotive expression, which is purely designed just to affect the viewers that are watching.
There'll be more articles about Philip after this in the newspapers for the next 3 weeks, you know, than about the actual topic. You know, they'll find a way to spin it.
Yeah.
To see the curvature of the globe. A plane, an average commercial plane, travels up 7 miles, which is around 33,000 feet.
Which Concorde wasn't.
You were about 10 or 12 miles. So it's still, again, way below what scientists themselves tell us.
Oh, I've got so many questions. We're going to have to end this. I'm really sorry. I really want to ask you about hold.
Well, come and ask us a question, Solly. We'll gladly answer your questions for you.
Hold on. We can continue. But We asked Paul, you've got a long way to convince our viewers,
Absolutely.
I'm afraid. Do you think the Earth is flat? No, say 94% of viewers.
There we go, Gav. There's one of these things that you were pointing out a minute ago.
Absolutely. And you see the question, do you think the Earth is flat? So why was the question not, do you think there is sufficient evidence for a globe, you know?
Exactly.
Or any measurable proof for a globe, you know, using the proper definition of measurement. It's not as if the people are too stupid to understand it, you know. That's the thing. She's actually treating people like complete fools, right, by asking these loaded questions.
Yeah, well, people are complete fools if they're sitting fucking watching it and being affected by it. No, I'm not going to make any apologies for saying that. That's just a fact. If you're influenced and affected by these two thickos, then you get serious issues.
Yeah, I mean.
6%.
Oh.
About right. All I'd say is go research it yourself. There is a wealth of material online.
All right.
We're living in the age of technology. There's no excuse anymore.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. Although the
And if
Greeks
you,
saw the shadow on the thing.
If you are,
Oh, the Greeks saw the shadow on the thing. Very articulate there, Holly. Very scientific.
The thing. Right?
The Greeks saw the shadow on the thing. Well, what can I say, you know? You there?
I am indeed. What can we say? Maybe I can just close it with one more little wiki page, my man.
Aye, of course, mate. Hold on. Where are you?
I'll just share my screen just to hammer 1 point home. Should be showing now, is it?
Aye, I'm sure you're showing.
Aye, so the definition of a sphere, just to hammer the point home about the difference in mathematics. So while outside mathematics, the terms sphere and ball are sometimes used interchangeably, in mathematics, the above distinction is made between a sphere, which is a two-dimensional closed surface. So two-dimensional is the word here, that's the geometry.
Yeah.
Embedded in a three-dimensional Euclidean space. So you're supposed to believe it's living in a three-dimensional space. But all you're talking about geometrically is the two dimensions of its surface.
Yeah.
So that's the sphere. And the ball is a three-dimensional shape that includes the sphere and everything inside the sphere, right? That means also the center point. So there is a center of the earth, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's the ball description.
Yeah.
Whereas a sphere is a two-dimensional geometry, a ball is a three-dimensional geometry.
Yeah.
This distinction has not always been maintained, and especially older mathematical references talk about a sphere as a solid. So it's been well known for a long time that the geometry of a three-dimensional ball and the geometry of a two-dimensional sphere that's imagined to be in a three-dimensional space, right, and looks like a three-dimensional ball, it's been known for a long time that the geometries are very, very similar, so they're easily confused.
Yeah.
So what we use for astronomy and navigation is the two-dimensional spherical geometry, yeah? And what we're told on TV and in Hollywood and in fucking plastic toys on our desk is that the thing is a ball, yeah? And they can get away with it because the mathematical definitions are so close, yeah? And so easily confused with sophistry.
Yeah, spot on, mate.